Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the first of a video series that I'm thinking of making in a kind of a journal entry or video diary format because I have a lot of thoughts and I wanted to share. Something that I've been seeing a lot online, there's been like a lot of discourse about what it's like to be an eldest daughter. And I've been feeling very validated by everything because I think for a lot of us eldest daughters, it can feel like an invisible weight that we have to carry. Hearing other people talk about it and kind of say, we've been going through the same things as you, you're not alone. I think that would make anyone feel better because you're able to share your concerns and learn, I guess, how to overcome them. So, yeah, today I kind of wanted to share my thoughts around what it's like being an eldest daughter and the psychology behind it because I find that a little fascinating as well. Why are a lot of us put in these roles or positions? Also, the things I've learned on how to cope with the stress that comes with being an eldest daughter because I know that it's not easy now that I'm kind of in my later 20s or second half of my 20s. I feel like I've learned a lot in the past year or two on how to finally release some of that stress and some of that anxiety around being an eldest daughter and let go of some of the responsibility that comes with it and learn how to take care of myself and put myself first. So I thought I would share that, and hopefully this makes any of you out there feel better or resonates with you if you're watching this. I have a trusty little notebook with me because my thoughts are always a jumble in my head and I cannot for the life of me organize them without some kind of cue or paper or something. So here it goes. Oh, something really fascinating that I saw on Instagram is this thing called the birth order theory by Alfred Adler. The poster was saying that this theory suggests that our position in a family shapes our personality and development. This, for eldest daughters, can lead to a strong sense of responsibility and leadership, perfectionism and high achievement, hyper independence, making it hard to accept care from others, and we're more prone to self criticism and feelings of inadequacy. We have higher levels of stress and anxiety, and a lot of times our self worth feels conditional and based on what we can accomplish and do for others. Which, oh my God, I think all of those check the boxes for me. Like, I've definitely felt all of these to be true for me. And I think that for especially immigrant eldest daughters, some of these are really prominent. For example, self worth being conditional based on what we can accomplish and do for others. I think this is partly due to the role that we're placed on as the eldest daughter in an immigrant family, where we feel like we have to take care of our younger siblings and we're told to look strong and be responsible so we can set the right example for others. We're told to take care of our siblings and take care of the family. Anytime we accomplish something, that's for many of us the first time we hear words of affirmation from our immigrant parents being like, good job, well done, you aced that exam, good job for helping out your sister on her essay, great job on doing this chore, doing that task, or whatever, etc., for me. So I found that to be very true. And I also think that this idea that us being born as the eldest daughter in this family shapes our personality development, this leads to us being parentified and growing up too quickly because again we're placed in this position of we're not a parent but we're kind of like a de facto parent even though we didn't ask for it because we're forced to shoulder the burdens of everyone else in the family basically. And another thing that I struggled with a lot was being called the quote unquote angry daughter because I would, I guess, lash out and have really strong emotional swings. And I think part of that is because we were told to be strong and put on the strong front when on the inside we may not be feeling that way. We had to figure out everything on our own. And also, acting as the family therapist, a lot of the times we're listening to other people's concerns. But then when it comes to our own concerns, we don't feel listened to, we don't feel heard. We're also, in many families, tend to be the least favorite child, or feel like the least favorite child, even though that may not be actually true, but yet we're the most needed. And a lot of eldest daughters, I think, tend to be very sensitive, which I have just learned to see that as a strong point, and I've learned to accept that in myself and see that as a strength, not a weakness. Even though we've been told probably our whole life that we shouldn't be so sensitive, we shouldn't break down so easily, that we need to be strong. This is why the sensitiveness is what makes us more emotionally aware of other people. We can't handle a feeling of injustice, or when we see other people and ourselves going through something that we think is unfair, we tend to fight back and lash out. And that also is what labels us as the angry or the argumentative child, the one that talks back, because we can't bear to see injustice in any way, shape, or form. I think we're super empathetic, and I really love that about eldest daughters, the fact that we're able to dial into other people's emotions and are hyper aware sometimes. It can be a little hard though, because honestly, I think mentally that can really take a toll on us. Like, I know I really struggle mentally because I'm so hyper aware of people's emotions, to the point where, like, if I sense something even a little bit off, I start overthinking, like, oh, what did I do wrong? Like, do they not like me? Like, what do I do? Like, how do I change that? This is also what lends to the stress and anxiety that I mentioned earlier, is because we're so, like, our brains are always on overdrive and we're thinking constantly all the time. Like, it's hard to shut it off. I think a lot of eldest daughters are also very much overfunctioning high achievers, I think is the best way to put it, because of these roles that we're placed in, where it's hard for us to strive for anything but perfectionism in whatever we do. And that leads to a fear of failure, which can be really detrimental because it's hard to, like, try new things and start new things. And it's something that I've noticed, especially the past year or so in my life, when I've been wanting to make some changes. I haven't been super happy in my career. I haven't been super happy with where I'm living and the things that I'm doing. And I want to try new things. I want to put myself out there, but I have this fear of being perceived, or I had this fear of being perceived, and also this fear of failure because, what will my parents think of me? Like, what will other people think of me when they see me failing? In our eldest daughter brains, that's just not something that's allowed. And honestly, I think that is the one of the biggest obstacles that I've personally had to overcome, because if you don't try, you're never going to know, like, what you're good at. You're never going to know if you could have succeeded. You're not going to learn if you don't fail. I think that's a very hard lesson for many eldest daughters to learn, that it's okay and actually it's good to try and fail at things multiple times before you succeed. So, in that vein, I have affirmations for my eldest daughter girlies that I wanted to share. Hopefully, they make you feel better. The first one is, your emotions are not crazy, and you shouldn't feel bad about your anger because you have a dysfunctional family and or are made to shoulder everyone's emotional burdens. Second, you are not selfish for wanting to create space and set boundaries for your own mental health. You are not selfish for not wanting to constantly take care of others anymore. They're adults and they can deal with things themselves. Again, you're not selfish for wanting to take care of yourself and not put others first anymore because they are adults. This is a really big one. You need to learn to put yourself first and center yourself first, because that is the first step to healing. It's so important to learn to say no and let go of those people pleasing tendencies. I think a big tip here is create boundaries and set space. The more you create these boundaries for yourself, the easier it is to start saying no, and it makes a world of a difference, honestly. The third affirmation, while it is your parents' first time living life, it's also at the same time okay to feel resentful towards them. I think it's important to see both sides of the situation and both sides of the coin. Like, truly, you are not a bad person for having some leftover resentment or trauma, because that's really what it is. It's trauma from being put in this position, being parentified and having to be the emotional support of your family, whatever it is. You should not have been made to put in that position. So it is okay to feel that way, and this part of working through that trauma and dealing with those emotions. The fourth one I have is, these experiences may shape you, but you don't have to be defined by them. You can grow past that old self and shape your own identity. And my fifth affirmation is, you're allowed to take time to rest, heal, and live life on your own terms, and take care of your own needs before anyone else's. I've heard from a lot of eldest daughters that, like, moving out of their home, like, if you're still living with your family, which I still am, but I'm making plans to move out soon, soonish. But a lot of times, creating that physical boundary will help in creating that emotional boundary and healing from your anxiety, because that way you're able to live life on your own terms. You can practice rest and healing and having fun. You can learn more about yourself, like what your likes are, what your dislikes are, without fear of being perceived or fear of judgment or failure. The most important thing to take away from all this is please honor your inner child. Honor that inner child that never felt seen growing up, because this is your chance. No one else is going to come and heal your inner child and heal your trauma for you. You're the one that needs to do it. Please, please, please set those boundaries. Start living for yourself and loving yourself. And I promise you, it may seem hard and it may take time and repetition and practice, but you will heal. I can say that from my own experience. I have gone through a healing process. It's not over, but it took time and I've started getting better. I just wanted other people to know that their struggles and emotions are valid and that you can heal from your scars. It just may take time. I'm here for your friend, and I hope you found this helpful. I think I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.